There's definitely an understanding of, with this dynamic, less is more. Go with me here. Less doesn't mean nothing. When you were learning how to be the highest version of yourself, the healthiest version of yourself, how to be your own healthy partner, so you, and your own reliable partner, so you could be a healthy and reliable partner to somebody else. You learned that almost overgiving is another form of love bombing and comes from a place of needing deep acceptance from others to feel validated. Giving is not that thing. Giving is selfless. Giving is beautiful. Giving is showing how you care. But overgiving, that's when we fall into the territory of love bombing, unintended toxicity, and needing validation. There's also a difference between needing validation from your partner in a healthy way versus needing validation because you're not receiving any showance that your partner desires and appreciates you. Do you see what I mean? If you're in a healthy dynamic and one of your love languages is deeply being affectionate or getting attention, that's different. You understand the line of less is more, especially when you've been an overgiver your whole life. Your less is, it's even a little bit more than standard, if you will. Third time is definitely the charm with this. Very interesting. Maybe this is your third life together. There is an energy here of receiving in this lifetime what maybe was sacrificed in another. We're going to dive into pulling these cards to further understand. So why is this connection been placed in your life, especially at this time? There's been a lot of things going on. You've really upgraded in these past couple months. Your life has been on a steady incline, and sometimes really fast, to the point where it felt like you were falling. There's times where you thought you were dropping into lower timelines, if you will, but really you were accelerating so fast that it was like the G-force was pushing you down. You've moved mountains for yourself. There was a big part of this journey. I feel ancient Egypt vibes between you two. I think in the second lifetime together, you've had a Viking lifetime. You've had living in Egypt as your second, and this is your third. Very interesting. I feel that in the last lifetime, whoever the masculine is, like they met on a journey, okay? It looks like this masculine in this lifetime, your last lifetime, could have been a messenger. Maybe for like an energy of a king. Or the energy of a king, a pharaoh, you know what I'm trying to state. There is an energy of, I have to deliver a message that's not necessarily my own. In the last lifetime, there was like a deep sense of service for who the masculine was, and they had to break away from their duty. They had to make a decision to go forth with that feminine in that lifetime. It looks like this is an energy of a messenger going through the desert, the sand. I really see and feel the wind, the colors colliding, the sand and then the sky. And it's like there was a town or etc. along this way, and then here was this beautiful feminine who grasped their heart, and it looks like in this lifetime you were always a messenger of more than paper or of ear. You were a messenger, as you are now, of telepathic communication, of not just saying words to people, but it truly being able to download for them. You were meant to have your own kingdom, not be a messenger for somebody else. I see in this lifetime, as in every lifetime, the feminine has been a warrior. A warrior of words, able to defend and stand on her own, but always craving the man, the masculine, that she could be submissive to, because of the strength that they knew their masculine respected, saw, and honored in them. It feels an energy of like everybody in this town or settlement, etc., deeply were infatuated, and she never settled for a suitor, if you will. Collective takes what resonates, but this is a really specific deep download about a past life. She saw this masculine, and the first things I'm being told, the first things she noticed were his eyes, his hair, and a mix of complexion and curiosity is what I'm hearing. The eyes are the windows into the soul. The organic beauty of this man to her. But it was because it was more than he keeps care of himself. She saw the mountains he has had to cross. She saw the pain, the hurt, the love, the dedication, the honesty, the loyalty in his eyes. In this sense of, I want to know more about you. Who are you? We're going to get further understandings of this past life, but something I can definitely state right now is it feels that the masculine had to make a choice. Either walk away from what he was told his life was to be, his place, or embrace this independency and freedom that takes taking a leap of faith and going against complete grain. To not only be with the feminine, but start the journey to their own kingdom, if you will. It was cut short in this lifetime between you two, and that's why I have to dive more into the cards explaining to me what that means, that it was cut short. It's a mix of a couple of different feelings, emotions, and events I'm seeing. And since this is so specific, I think Spirit's stating they want me to get as detailed as possible. Definitely the last two. Not the one underneath, but this one. Alright, those are our cards. Let's see what we receive. This is definitely going to be one of the longest videos I have made in an extremely long time. I mean, this is a connection that is like legendary, is what I keep hearing. A power couple vibe, even though it's so in the beginning. Spirit's stating this dynamic. You've been going slow and steady wins the race. They're saying this dynamic is something that with open communication is going to thrive, and being willing to face insecurities and the ego head on. This is a connection that far surpasses quite a few people you've been with. Spirit's also saying it doesn't matter about knowing the rest right now of the past life you had. You've received downloads up to this point that you're supposed to know. This lifetime is not about righting any wrongs, is what they want you to know, though. This lifetime is about you two receiving fruition, because it looks like the only thing that you need to understand is it was pulled apart. You were pulled apart from each other in the last life. It was neither of your decision to necessarily go. It was almost like masculine was forced to do something, and you promised each other you would see each other again, and this is that again. What we're going to do now is switch into this lifetime. The energy between the feminine, the energy between the masculine, and how they're mixing. You know if you're the masculine or feminine in the dynamic. So when I'm picking up on the feminine's energy, this should be matching your mind process. If you're the masculine and you're watching this and you're hearing me state the masculine's mindset, feelings, mind process, it should match what you are feeling. With that verification and deeper understanding, even of yourself and validation of self, you're going to hear what the other counterpart is going through at this moment. A humongous part of this is a mix of a past, present, future spread as well. So we have 6 sections of the cards. This first thing we're going to dive into is the feminine's energy. So this is a past, present, future pull right now of the feminine's mind process, up to date from meeting the masculine, this dynamic in this lifetime. So it looks like there could have been a lot of tower moments that happened with the feminine right before meeting this masculine. What I feel is it's not maybe necessarily a relationship, but these are collective takes what resonates. It feels like in all their past dynamics, though, they rushed really fast, and a healthy boundary they set with themselves is, I'm going to make sure a person is deserving of my fruit, if you will. I'm not going to rush fast and have somebody just pop into my life to go ahead and pop out once they are bored, is what I'm hearing. The feminine's very loyal. The feminine's very loyal and has her own independency as well. I see what she's stated in the past. I've dealt with this in the past, and I'm not going to deal with this. And partners going forward, there's going to be prudence involved. When she met her masculine, remember, this all has to do with energy. Very well, the gender could fit within that. But you must know if you're the feminine or the masculine. And for this reading, you will hear me switch back and forth as best I can to my abilities to keep the flow and understanding of who energy we're picking up on. With that being said, when the feminine met the masculine, one of their first thoughts was that this person seems very balanced. It looks like they have a happy home life. There's something in their eyes of comfortability. Not jumping to conclusions, but being like, yeah, I could see this person being someone that it's the energy. This is a person that could pick up on energy very well, and they're like, their energy seems like somebody that I would want to bring to my home. They got good vibes, long story short. They saw somebody that doesn't cut corners, a hard worker. There was a lot of good signs. The current energy the feminine feels for this masculine is a deep state of like, I'm curious about what you know. That the masculine is an enlightened source in touch with his own feminine nature. His nurture, his compassion, his sympathy. The work ethic of this masculine is something that the feminine is deeply attracted to. And the due diligence, it proves how when this person puts their mind to something, no matter what it is, they will succeed. This feminine probably was someone who kind of took care of in the past, their masculines. And has always wanted somebody to just, somebody they could be truly submissive to, but not in a sense of giving up power. Not in a sense of giving up their independency. Just a masculine to take the rings and let them be a feminine. They saw the ability, and they do still see, this is current energy, they do still see that ability. But there is worry. There is other factors that are hindering maybe a little bit of growth on the feminine side right now, and it's understandable. Their mind process of this person, without factoring in 3D world evidence, is what I'm hearing. 3D world ego feelings, processing nothing but energy between the two, is that sense of, this is somebody I can be bored with, I can have my adventures with. I see inspiration twinkling slowly. Right now, the feminine, the way she sees the future, or is leading to a mind process of worry, is what I hear, is, will this masculine be someone that abandons me, that just comes in and ghosts? A big thing was past relationships did not respect the love language of this feminine. And quality time and affection are of a deep importance to the feminine. She can be worried that once the masculine is used to their dynamic, he will run or become disinterested. There's also a worry of another person, is what I'm hearing. So they may wonder if they're going to be a cheater, or if other people would gain their attention. This is collective. You have to take what resonates, especially with this one, because there's a lot of different dynamics I'm feeling. But long story short, I see the feminine's mind process is letting matches burn before they're even being able to be used. They understand they can't jump to conclusions if the masculine's energy is so far different than what they've experienced before, and the communication comes at play. I see that the worries, the fears of this feminine are not going to lead to complete disruption. So, the feminine's mind process is, I will be with a masculine who is emotionally free and respects me, and there must be a deep sense of control issues they've had with past relationships. They want their masculine to be somebody who has broken through generational curses and domestication. So they're not asking for perfection, but I do see right now it looks like, even though there's some paranoia, all of their guide signs are pointing to this masculine being a breakthrough. They feel hope. That hope is turning into faith. Okay? Now we're going to go into the masculine's energy process, up to date. And this is interesting energy, okay? Because it looks like the feminine has been very fruitful inwardly. It looks like the masculine definitely has been processing how to move about this in the 3D more than what the connection is. It looks like the masculine has a lot of confidence in this connection, because I have an energy split of their masculine's process, mind process up to date, and then also a cut energy of the masculine's actions and motives. So diving into that right here, the masculine's energy process up to date, how they've been with seeing this feminine energy, okay? So when they first experienced the feminine, they felt this raw emotional energy surging through them. That means surging through the feminine. There's something of like this artistic, unique appeal more than attraction. Absolutely an outwardly beauty, but something of their eyes spoke. It felt like they had seen them before, and it came out of nowhere. I feel like this feminine popped into the masculine's life, not the other way around. There also is a sense of balance, though, within that, almost like a feminine making a first move and a masculine deeply taking the further step. It looks like this masculine saw something very different. Both people have a lot of suitors because there's a lot going for both of you. And it feels like the masculine has made decisions or actions based off humbleness and not allowing something to go away because they feel it's interesting. This masculine was somebody that it takes a lot to gain their attention, truly. And same with the feminine, but since we're in the masculine's energy right now, it looks like they have broke some of their own rules, if you will. Not their boundaries, their limitations that weren't meant for this specific person. This is somebody that was like, I'm not going to double text. I'm not going to intensely reach out to people and very much just let what is supposed to flow come. It looks like the masculine has registered, though, that this feminine already entered their way in a life that's different than others. And from instantly seeing them for the first time, a picture of them in person, take it as it resonates, a feeling surging through that's like, this is breakthrough energy. This is, the barriers are not meant for this person. Self-trust, self-respect, self-boundaries, healthy boundaries, absolutely, but not those barriers of, this is not it's not that the people of the past worth, it has nothing to do with their worth, but their position in your life is not worth you taking certain leaps of faith. We want you to hold those for the correct instances and souls, and this is one of those souls. So I see the masculine from the very beginning just like seeing possibilities and very confident and surprised. And the feminine actually showed up. What I'm hearing is at like the perfect time in their life, like divinely orchestrated. At a time not anywhere close to giving, like they were about to give up hope on love or anything like that, but like really closing off is what I hear. Like this masculine was starting to be like, you know, I think I'm gonna close my apps if it has to do with like online dating. I'm gonna decide to, you know, I went inwardly, I did this work, I got all the signs from spirit that it was time to get out of my comfort zone, get myself back into the dating world. Did that for a while, but you know, maybe it's just time to go back inwardly. Maybe there's some more work to do before I can attract in whoever that is. And that's when the feminine popped up, right before they were about to just like cut off their apps and everything. It's almost like spirit was like, no, you're right here. And because you're so effortlessly in a sense willing to just trust our guidance to cut those things off, we have to make it happen now because you're actually ready. At current energy though, it does feel like there's a sense of not being at peace with fate with the way you two last talked or the dynamic of the last conversation. Presently, it feels like the masculine is wondering, was I left on red, or was my message not opened? Was the date canceled, or etc.? Takes it as it resonates because they're not interested, or there could have been a misunderstanding. I feel this masculine definitely not wanting to cross boundaries for both the feminine but also themselves, and being in a state of like hoping for real, like, yo, they're just taking a temporary retreat, they're restoring their force, and once they're ready, they'll bring me back this forward movement. I know I have to be vulnerable to keep going forward, but I also have to hold my masculine strength and being at peace with fate and patience. So I see they definitely go around in circles about if they should reach back out even though the ball's not necessarily in their court. They do feel like there's some form of misunderstanding, and if there could be open communication, this is something that could be very much resolved. They're wondering right now the future process, from the left path, right path choices, energy up to date. The masculine very much is not throwing away faith, but they do feel an imbalance about how can I trust my visions right now of the future, because I don't want to jump to conclusions. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to give, all of this energy and attention to something coming that's not. But also, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel right to give up on this. I see the masculine has a sense of definitely holding faith, but still being like, how are the scales balancing right now? And they're also, with this being in this state, I see the masculine's not focused on what's going to happen. They're focused on daily understanding signs, synchronicities. I see a masculine that's learned from their decisions and state of not being at peace with fate in the past. They're both master manifestors, and something that the masculine had to be very much taught was the things that they can't manifest to happen fast. Being at peace with fate with it. But that doesn't mean that it's longering and lingering and supposed to take forever. That's not what's going on with this dynamic. So, to further understand, this feels more like it's important for the feminine to hear this. What are the masculine's true intentions, motives, their actions going forward? All right. So we have, it looks like, right here, perfect. All right, so from the very beginning, their actions and motives were this: to be a peace, to be a safe space. They don't want to seem. It's an interesting energy. They definitely do not want to become just a predictable force for this feminine, because in the past being predictable didn't really help them. They're a deeply committed and loyal person. From the very beginning, they felt quiet celebration. Like, yo, this feels right. I'm gonna not jump to conclusions. I'm not going to, put exactly how I'm feeling out there. I'm gonna vibe. I'm gonna go with it. But I feel success, and this is something I definitely want to dive into. Their intentions from the beginning were positive. It wasn't an energy mindset or mind process of lust, of seeing them as a distraction. It was very much like, you're special. You feel instantly special to me, and I can just figure out with time where that's supposed to go. But something's different, and my motives and my actions are genuine. The motives, actions, and intentions from the beginning have been pure. But this masculine definitely has the ability to be a defender and a protector. So they're that teddy bear energy. Soft and sweet on the inside, but very much a protector. And that's the perfect blend of what the feminine has been manifesting and telling the universe to bring into their life. The current intentions, even with the two not being in full communication or etc., is still masculine confidence. Even though they aren't sure exactly, when the next conversation is or how the future looks between you two, they're definitely still in a state of confidence. Like, I gotta trust this. This is someone who deeply, their intentions is not to be a flirt, but is to charm you specifically. I see a masculine who is faithful and loyal and communicative, is not going to blow smoke, but definitely knows that there needs to be some confident conversations, and it looks like open communication about misunderstandings that could have happened up to the point, or reasonable worries, etc. Their current intentions are to charm in the best way, not to be charming of a player, to be authentic, real, and strength to lead through nurture, compassion, sympathy, to be a positive force. And they know they're not perfect, but that's another thing they'll be honest about. From the very beginning, open communication, and still respecting the pace. The future energy, the future actions, the future motives and intentions are even stronger than the current. This is not something that once they continue to get to know each other, this masculine's going to fade away or become bored. This masculine's very healed and is not looking for distractions, is looking for true connections. This individual is very unique. The masculine is a free bird as well. It does go against the grain when it comes to love and self-deservance, but teaches people that individuality. Teaches people that love is a garden, not one potted plant. It looks like they will continue to be this force. And they very much understand that the feminine has to see that. That they have to have patience and let the words will speak for themselves, but let their actions be all of the pruvence, their consistency, their commitment to their highest timeline, to being a healthy partner for all involved, meaning themselves and you, etc. This is a true leader, balanced, and their intentions, actions, and motives are extremely pure but strong. The feminine manifested this masculine into their life. They're saying you don't have to pinch yourself. And again, we're not sitting here like praising and saying this masculine is perfect. Remember, they go against the grain. They are real. They are raw. So, do not take what they say with a grain of salt. To further understand it, they want to free chaos of the feminine. They want to be there for their volcano moments when life has made them erupt. I call volcano moments, it's when like you've been holding things down for so long and it all comes out at once. The masculine wants to be the shoulder for them to cry on. The masculine has patience and knowance that, goddamn, they've been through so much before me. There's going to be times the feminine says things to me that she doesn't mean. There's going to be times that fear and parasite is all that's talking, and I will sit there and not be belittled or beaten, but I'm not going anywhere type of energy. I am sitting here. I am standing by your side through this. It's not right the way you're talking to me. And I know this won't continue. But I'm here. I'm not going anywhere if you don't want me to. The masculine's intentions are so much farther than pure. They want to extinguish away the chaos in any form they can, blow away any smoke they can for this feminine. Wow. Amazing. So the next set of cards I have to flip the page over for. I'm telling you, this is like one of the strongest connections I've channeled in a long time. I feel like this could even start being a love collective, like an Archangel love collective message. As I get my further confirmation on what collective this is, this energy absolutely will be stirred to the playlist of Archangel collectives versus the YouTube collective. For the time being, the next set of energy is the actual process of how things will go between these two people. With law of attraction, all at play. With the left path, right path choices of working side by side. And that doesn't mean things being perfect. So that's starting with here. Let's lay out the gods. Okay. These cards are freaking dope as well. It's my first time using these cards, so it's the first energy that's in here as well. Extremely fresh. So this will be the card deck I use with the Archangels for this, or whatever Archangel collective this is. I always utilize this deck. We always do switch out different oracles, but this deck is meant for that collective. So we understand now the feminine's mindset, process, how they've analyzed everything. The same exact thing with the masculine. Now, this is about actually what is happening. Nothing to do with mind process or insecurities or focusing in on one specific person. This is overall actually, if you were looking at the whole thing from a down perspective, like source surrounding what is going on. Both of you manifested each other. I want somebody, and I know I'm deserving of somebody of wish fulfillment, that we can have home life, abundance, and balance. A warrior, but that can be kind and sweet to me, that can put their shields down to me. A masculine and feminine warrior. Both people felt something special. Again, there's a deep state of this being right because there wasn't these crazy butterflies. It was comfort, attraction, but comfort instantly. You feel special. That has something different ring. That has a different ring to it, doesn't it? Both people are of the past could have been afraid that either made decisions that made a mischance or allowed emotional immaturity to make some ego-based decisions, even if it was something as small as like the energy of I'm not going, I'm getting like a download while I'm analyzing this card right now. There's a deep sense of were past actions I made based off of not wanting to look desperate, being told all of this stuff with how to go around the dating, like how to act around the dating scene, or actions you have to do to stay in control. It looks like both people wonder, did I let my ego make decisions that could have messed this up for me? So both people were like worried about not speaking up. It's very interesting. Looks like the current energy between the two is really both people fighting through the deceit of others, stopping them from getting to know someone new and see love in an upgraded version. It looks like the feminine could be worried. Well, remember, this is not focusing in on one person, but I can definitely feel why this card is aligning with the feminine so much versus the reality of the situation. But both people, the energy between showed a release of codependency, but still knowing there are things about me that it's like once somebody gets to truly know me, are they going to fully accept me? Or is it that everything can be going right between us and they get to know something that's of a deep privilege to know about you, and it instantly makes them run away or cuts the connection? I can feel fear on either side in different ways. Both could have trust issues when it comes to commitment. Could have been cheated on in past relationships. So wonder if that could be a repeating cycle. There's a lot of wonders and fear, which makes me even have more confirmation that these two people really aren't in communication at this point, or in minimal communication. There definitely has to be a conversation between these two about a misunderstandings. But it looks like the masculine's wondering, do they reach out before the feminine reaches back out to them to start Well, it looks like this masculine is like, it's going back into a balance of in between two. The energy right now is fighting through deceit of that parasite. It's seeing part of love is being dependent. It's not being codependent. It's not having all of yourself need to be with this person 24/7, but you're supposed to long and miss your person when you're not together. The current energy is definitely deep. There's no way to not feel that. There are a lot of worries, but I see the two people prevailing through this. I see multiple leaps of faith. Not channeling into any one energy, but it does look like both the masculine and feminine are wondering the level of balance with this. Should I reach back out to them? Should I make a little more communication or explanation for something that I don't know if the other person even wants, but I don't know if I don't try? I feel confidence. I feel, especially channeling into these cards, there's a sense of not wanting to step on toes. There could be a wonderance of who's in each other's lives right now. Do either of you have another partner? Are either of you going through a divorce or a separation? Does your families have deep influence on your life and who you date? Like, meaning like they can be around you so much that their judgment can somehow mix into your own? Would it be going against the grain to be together? Definitely an energy of not wanting anybody to be put on a side burner and not step on harmony. But that's the thing. It looks like all parties involved in the future have the ability to sit around a table and coexist. So if this is explaining any type of dynamic, because these are collective, you have to take what resonates, meaning being able to coexist with family members, with other people that are friends, partners, etc., being able to coexist. I see that completely happening. It's going to take you being willing to face your fears, and continuing this sense of balance and knowing that there is something different with this. What the cards are stating, the fruitfulness of this actual dynamic, is part of your greater good. Do you notice how these cards don't promise forever? Because left path, right path choices dictate what forever and destiny is. We're destined to meet certain people. We're not destined to stay in each other's life in every lifetime. Destined to meet and experience, but the choices in that life make it to where if you stay together. And that is not meant to discourage you. Plenty of people, it's not about making the right choices, okay? It's about making the choices that you're guided to and knowing you can make everything happen for you, not to you. And you have to do your part. And if somebody's giving you balance, give and take. And that doesn't mean always 50-50. That means some days it's going to be 80-20, etc. But you're balancing each other out more than half the time. this is something that's meant to last. Spirit's basically stating that this is success. This is reality. This is facing hard moments for true fruition. Nobody said the spiritual journey was easy, right? Nobody said that gaining freedom doesn't take growing pains. But it does show that the end or the future for the time being, right now, what we consider the future before it happens, ends up in peace, harmony, surrounding, understandings, friendships. So, as the feminine further gets to know the masculine, how are their feelings going to grow? Right now, these ones. Put that to the side. Oh, before we do that, I just realized we didn't even utilize these cards for that. The further understandings. Past, present, future, definitely. About the masculine's energy. So this is what, okay, I see. This is guide. If you're the masculine here, this is that further guidance about that question you had. Should I reach out to them and do a further explanation to what has been going on? Or not even like that intense, just like, hey, I know we were talking and maybe there's some things that could have been further explained or I didn't get the chance to explain. And I think if I did, it would make a world of a difference. But if you don't respect, or that's not the way, if it's wouldn't be respecting to you and your boundaries, I'd like to have like a conversation to dive in further to who I am or what's going on in my life, and if that's something that can match you, or we be able to figure out if there's something that can grow from it, or respectfully just understand the line of what you won't cross in your life when it comes to relationships. Masculine, they're saying that this is transformation. It's about you, the way you bring this forward movement. It's not about being intense. It's about being raw and authentic and confident, but trusting that Spirit is most likely telling you you will have to reach out. Not have, but the way the law of attraction is working, because this is different, because this isn't chasing, okay? And I'm not saying to do this over and over again. This is one single time we're talking about right now. Being guided at the right time to reach out to this feminine one more time if she hadn't reached, from her left path, right path choices, hadn't reached out to you yet. It will make some form of difference. You simply reaching out with that nurturing strength and confidence. No matter if the answer ends up being, yeah, I'd like to continue to get to know each other or respectfully go our separate ways, it makes a difference to this feminine. Even the mind process or how she sees men or masculines. But for a lot of you, it will end up very good in going forward and getting to know each other in a complete, just knowing another person and evolving to romantic. It's the way you come across. It's trusting that you're patient and you only do it when Spirit is stating it's time. It's being authentic and just letting Spirit take the will from there. So if the time ends up being longer, you are going to get a sign from your guides that third time's the charm is what I'm hearing for most of the masculines here. So now we can dive into, okay, there we go. Perfect. Now, as the feminine further gets to know the masculine? How is their whole mind process going to be about them? It seems like it's gonna grow substantially. The feminine's definitely taking a temporary retreat, and they're gonna continue to, what I sense is having this conversation. They're gonna go backwards. They're gonna think about, not backwards. They're gonna retreat. They're gonna look and see everything in a different form. This one piece of information will absolutely make them see things of the past differently. But also, as they continue to get to know them, the more and more they learn about why the masculine is as beautiful as they are. And remember, we're just focusing on the feminine's feelings to the masculine. After this, we'll do the vice versa, talking about the feminine this way. The more and more they learn about the life experience, what the masculine has gone through, and also just who they are, their personality and humor and morals, and overall truly continuing to be magnetized and feeling this deepening. So many explanations and so much understands for why things happen the way they had to. It's like from the beginning, this masculine can prove my word is solid, I'm authentic, I'm real, and I know my worth, but I also know how to be vulnerable through strength. And deeply inspired by who they are. This is a very unique man, masculine. And the feminine is a very unique woman, feminine. They both have so much inner beauty, and the more the feminine gets to know the ins and outs of the masculine, it's going to be like, this is the man of my dreams. He is realistic. I am not calling them perfect. Remember when I say him or she, we are, because this is collective, not talking about gender. We're talking about energy, who the masculine and feminine is. It's important to continue to refresh memory on that. Maybe not for everybody, but for the ones who need it. It's good. Anyways, though, it looks like it will make them even more confident in their own intuition on why, from the beginning, I knew there was something special about this masculine. Further cards. There's going to be a balance. There's going to be a deep sense of activation in this masculine's life that the energy the feminine sends. The feminine is going to see that this person was brought into their life for activation, not triggering. A trigger puts you in a corner and doesn't allow you to leave. It's an energy that makes you feel forced, and it's like, don't look anywhere else, don't do anything else, just trust me. Not, there's a open window over there, but it's 60 feet from the ground. If you try to leave here, you're not going to be safe. Well, an activator is somebody that is neither at the window or in the corner. They're in the middle, and they're encouraging. Hey, I'm not going to go to you and pull you by your shirt and yank you, but that window over there that's open, the way out, the freedom, to think for yourself, is not 60 inches from the ground. It's 6 inches from the ground. I'm going to lead you, but you have to take the uncomfortable steps and make the movement. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable for further growth. I see this feminine just sending that activation and understanding the masculine will not run because they know their ins and outs. They know their masculine and feminine energy. They are spiritual. And they can trust themselves and their intuition. They have a lot of confidence and strength that took them years and years and years of harnessing before they met this feminine. And there's a reason they met now. The feminine is a discovering activator. As they continue forward, and they're going to see that. The masculine is going to be this new life force. This new light. A cheerleader for this feminine. being by their side, their strength, their shoulder to cry on, but also their best friend and lover. This is massive changes. The more the feminine gets to know this masculine, they're not going to care what eyes or minds think of their connection. Not stating this feminine as we speak really cares about that stuff. They seem like a very free, independent-minded source, but everybody has their moments and insecurities of what other people think, and certain ones, like this feminine and this masculine, can snap out of it. A whole new perspective. So, lastly, but definitely not leastly, as the masculine continues to get to know this feminine, how is their mind process and energy going to be? And this is like short and sweet when it comes to this masculine, because they truly, and not in a love bombing sense, not in a I say this and feel this all the time, and not an energy of I've never felt you before. They already see this feminine as one of the most beautiful people they've ever experienced. And remember how that's stated. They're not putting them on a pedestal and making them number one. You should never do that to a person. You are going to meet and experience multiple beautiful people throughout your life. There does not have to be a first, to be quite frank. Yes, there's always going to be certain dynamics that are different, but love is a garden. And what I see is this masculine seeing the feminine as this continued thriving fruit. I see this masculine embracing the feminine's strength. I see the masculine continuing to open up doors spiritually, physically, a very much charmer, because it's authentic. They see this woman, this feminine, as so externally and internally strong. They continue to be curious about what makes them them, their hobbies, their interests, their life experience, their goals, their fears, their strength, but also just embrace moments of peace and comfort and excitement and thrill. Continuing to lead through nurture, compassion, and sympathy when it comes to their feminine. I feel the feelings only increasing, and being ready for and expecting a form of defense from the feminine for a good time after what they've been through for so long. But seeing the bigger picture, and again, not letting themselves be belittled or taken advantage of. Not saying the feminine would do that, but, it's explaining the healthy boundaries that the masculine set for themselves, and that shows the feminine they truly can be a healthy partner for them. Being willing to always keep their walls down. Not saying their guard is thrown out the door, but they are willing to keep their walls down for this feminine. Their future feelings are only going to develop and advance more. And being ready for whatever life throws at you too. It looks like already it's shedding those not realistic boundaries. It's not that they're going to shift their worth, but they're going to continue to do things differently than they would have for somebody else. Patience, really understanding that when you two are together, all the feelings and the eye intimacy and etc., and the words and hearing the vibration of the voice is going to give the feminine all the confirmation about this existence, but also understanding when separation happens, meaning just going throughout the days where you can't see each other, etc. Knowing that there's going to be this push-pull, but having faith that the feminine will not disappear. Respecting healthy boundaries of both people involved. Being a healthy force. Being somebody that waters their garden. But also make sure not to overwater. Existing by this feminine side. And being a supportive light force. This is a beautiful connection. And this is definitely going to turn into an Archangel collective, which, you know what, we're going to end up doing right now. For the ones of you here, you're definitely, if you've watched this entire video, you are part of this collective. And remember, you can be part of more than one collective. Because, in the shortest way and the easiest way to explain it, the Archangel collectives are different relationships. Some people may only be connected to one. Some people may be connected to 2 of my different collectives, or 3, or 1. You have to know for yourself by hearing the details. That's why I make them so freaking specific. So, long story short for now, if you've been here up to this point, you're definitely, when it comes to this new dynamic, this relationship, the Archangel collective you should focus on. No matter if you feel that you've been attached to other ones before. This person is not anything I've really ever channeled. I at least channeled this deeply to the point I could center focus and point it as an Archangel collective. If you're here right now, this is the Thuriel collective. Look, I am a caretaker of the earth. I spend time in nature. My connection with fairies is strong. I'm a good gardener. We've been talking about gardening this whole time, like as a way of looking at this love. It's easy to open myself up and allow light in. I unlock the secrets to my soul. And brown agite is a deep stone you can utilize for this connection. Have you been spending time in nature? How does your garden grow? Whether you live in a small city apartment or on an expensive farm, you can always find a way to establish your roots in the earth and nature. Use the negative ions of the mountains, sea, or air for your overall well-being, because exactly negative vibration or low vibration doesn't always mean bad. We have high frequency, low frequency, okay? And life's a circle. High frequency is what I call pre-workout energy. It's when you're going, and you have inspiration, and it's easy to get up and flow. And then we have low frequency, which is restoring time. It doesn't mean you're going to be sad or depressed. It's like when you're like, man, I have to sleep. I've been working really hard. I've been thinking really hard. It can absolutely still mean, sadness or going through things, but all to remember when you're in low frequency is what your body and soul and mind needs the most is whatever form of rest is intended for that situation, and restoration and reflection. And that is a time of where consistency comes in. That's where you see that a person's not going to go away because things get boring or not easy, or I want thrill and the chase. When you guys get into low frequency, that's when you really see what a person is and if they're going to stay with you. And when then you get back to that high frequency, you use that motivation, you use that inspiration, you utilize it all, and let those creative ideas, movements, actions, intentions just thrive in that high vibration, but don't feel wrong or like you did something bad when it continues to go around. This is the Thuriel collective. Furthering on, when I make collective channel messages for Thuriel, it's this connection going forth. So I don't even know what number this would be, but any Thuriel collective I post, that's after June 16th is part of this connection. Long story short for now. That's what I got for you today. And I'll see you. Okay, little bit of a promo before I forget. The Colorado Adventure, I have 2 spots that are added, and they are able to be claimed until June 22nd. This trip is August 16th, and it's 6 days in the Colorado Rocky Mountains. And I'm going to utilize spiritual workshops every one of the 6 days, where we dive into different forms of understanding tarot guidance, inner child / inner teenager work, spiritual alchemy, manifestation techniques, and so much more. I'm gifting a spiritual basket to every single person that comes that's full of divination tools and my first ever oracle decks that are currently in production. And the way you can go to the website to claim your spot is in any of my YouTube video description bios. It's also connected to my Instagram bio links. It's also linked directly to that site by going on my website and clicking on the Colorado Trip button. My website is offprintmint.com. Also, if you decide to go there, check out the services tab for my available services. If you're interested in receiving a personal reading from me, go ahead and click a book a reading button that you'll see on there, and it will prompt you to a page where you put your full name, your email address, the topic at hand, aka you're wanting a love reading, a deep dive reading, like you're wanting a general love reading or a deep dive love reading, a soul uniting session, an apprenticeship interview, and then another box will be the brief description of furthering that topic at hand that you're wanting to start communication with me about. That is the only way to contact or be in communication with me is through my website, offprintmint.com. After sending that, I would respond to you via email. And my email is contact@offprintmint.com. That's what I got for y'all today, and I'll see you when I see you. Let's get it.